All right, we need to talk about the S&P 500, the Nasdaq 100. We had a pretty good moving day going basically into the 1 o'clock last 2 hours of trading. Then we started, falling back towards the downside. We're going to talk about exactly what happened. We had some pretty interesting news from the Fed, which we did discuss yesterday. We needed to watch out for this specifically. And this is, in my opinion, what propped us for the upside potential. Now, we have a lot of stuff to cover here, so let's get into it. First, specifically, again, Fed Vice Chair Brainerd. She came out with some pretty overall a good tone, right? She said it may almost be time to consider this quote unquote pivot. Now, again, what did I say previously, and what have I been making sure we remember? We need to be looking at this with a glass half full, but we need to understand why we're seeing them say this now, okay? If we continue to get good data, then we are understanding the Fed's going to continue to lean towards this viewpoint. Now, it may not happen at the next meeting, but we can understand this is what's going to drive and move the market, right? That's why we're doing the whiteboard every single week here now, so we can look specifically at key bullet points so we're not ever taken by surprise, but also so you have a bullet point and, something to come back onto so you can look at why the market's moving. And today, really big was that Fed rhetoric. This was important to look at. Now, we go back in here. She basically was going over what was happening with unemployment. She said unemployment is rising, which is good based on what the Fed wants to see. And then also they're expecting the CPI expectations to continue to come down as far as inflation. That's basically a synopsis of what she was saying. And again, I'm not saying that she's right and that inflation's at all being handled. I actually said the opposite in yesterday's video from a long-term viewpoint. But from a short-term viewpoint, you can understand how this can be taken from that side of things. Now, as far as news coming out this week, Walmart earnings are going to be tomorrow. I'm going to go into that here in a second. And then you also have PPI tomorrow morning. That's going to be important as far as how we move with the market. Now, I did say it's important to realize that from previous PPIs, CPI is usually the bad thing, and then PPI usually gets us to bottom out, and we bounce from that. So expectation, I don't think PPI is going to be terrible, but right now I am liquid. I want to make that abundantly clear right now. I'm liquid. Before we go any further, I have to ask you to consider doing two things, liking and subscribing. I'm making videos every day, so you are not taken by surprise today. I'm sick, but I'm still making the video for you, and you can expect to get these unbiased viewpoints again every single day here on the channel. We have the Twitter as well, so you can constantly be updated with charts before market close, etc., like I was telling you here also. Now, when we come to the charts, again, today's video is not going to be long. I feel terrible. I really honestly do. I feel completely sick. And as we look here, you're getting a terrible close on the day. You had more of a rough gravestone doji forming here, and then near the end of the day, you kind of just fell through. I did post on Twitter, as you can see here, 22 roughly minutes ago, about 10 minutes before close, you were forming a gravestone, which is typically a pretty bearish signal on the market. I do want to highlight that's just purely technicals, and when we're looking here on the channel, we look at more than just the technical aspect. Now, when we come into the Nasdaq, we can also see we're back in that level which we were kind of trading in and rejecting at that 11.8 level. We had somewhat of a mount going to the end of the week, but now we're back in this channel. So until you can hold on the daily time frame above 11.8, it's going to be a little bit tough. I still have to say my target, if we're holding above this, is still going to be 12.1. That's my anticipation, right? But it's important to realize where you're at and how you're reacting so far. Looking at SPY, I also want to talk about where we're at here. Now, SPY, you're back at that 395 level. And this is not bad news yet. I do want to highlight this. As long as you're holding about 395, I think you still look positive. At least to get up to 403, possibly 410. Let me tell you why. Now, I recently made the switch over to FlowAlgo. I am in no way affiliated with them. If they ever did affiliate with me, I would 100% jump on because I love their product. Now, this is their equity levels, and this is a really cool tool they have because it basically shows you where the most money is trading on specific stocks at specific equity levels. And so on SPY, over basically the past roughly 2 years, where the most equity has been trading is this 395.88 level. Now, I would say this is roughly just around that area. I don't want to say it's just right at 395.88, but I want to highlight this level is important. And you see roughly, this is almost a perfect score on their charts based on volume coming into this level. You can see there's no other level, no higher, no lower that meets this criteria of reaching 100. So I believe this 395 is going to be very important. If we can hold above it, I could still see the upside potential going into the end of the week. But I think this is going to be a very big level you need to be watching specifically on the market. Options flow, there wasn't really that much today specifically on SPY and Qs. So there's no point in looking too deep into that. I don't want to even spend too much time on irrelevant things here. I just want to spend time on things that I'm looking at going into tomorrow. And I know people are going to be looking at this and you're forming wedges and whatever, else you may be looking at. But ultimately, it comes down to simple price action. You're coming right down to a big level. You're sitting back on top of 395. You flipped over. Now you're retesting it. Now it lies in the court of PPI and earnings coming out tomorrow. Now, if we look at what happened from last time Walmart reported earnings, I just want to highlight really quick something like Target in the XLP sector, which it's important to mention that typically when we get big runs, XLP, if you look at sector-wise, XLF, XLP, XLE, XLP has been one of the leading indicators. It's been one of the leading sectors that runs first. If you look at Target I'm going to go to the last earnings that we had back here on Walmart really quick. This is trading view, just so you can see this really clear. Back on August 17th, roughly, we're going to go to Target just to show you what's happening here on the market with these XLP stocks and how this does move. So around August 17th, right here, roughly, you had a really big gap from basically, 172 all the way up to 183 the next day. If you remember on the channel, we caught that move because we were long on Target. But it's worth mentioning when you had that last earnings from, Target and Walmart, you dropped really big on the market, and this drug down everything with it. Now, I'm not going to say that Walmart's going to move the entire market, but I do believe it's very important as far as supply and demand and supply chain situations we have currently, formed on the market and the short-term aspect. I think little things are going to matter in the short term, getting the movement overall. Now, the next thing I do want to highlight is going to be the volume. Again, I use Yahoo Finance. I know some people may not like this, but I like using Yahoo Finance because it's extremely simple and you guys can do this, as you're watching the video. And I think it's a really simple way to just look at this data really quick. Now, historical data is where you go, and you can see on the day we had 64 million. This is atrocious. Actually, when we were going into the last 10 minutes of trading, we had around, 52 million. So we got 10 million or 12 million of this trading in the last 10 minutes of trading. It's worth mentioning that in the after hours. So today's volume is absolutely piss poor. I believe the 30-day average is about 100 million, and you're at about 60% of that. That's terrible. Again, declining from Friday. Friday was a bank holiday, and you still had more volume than that. I expected more volume to kick in. The fact that we didn't have volume is concerning. Now, there's a few things you can look at this, though. In my opinion, if you're looking at ES and you're seeing this pullback, it looks like a pullback right now. And I just want to say that. This looks like a retracement getting ready to pop back up. Why? Because you're retracing with lower volume. So if I go to something like the 4 hour, you're going to see the 2 hour roughly. It's not necessarily a bull flag, but you're getting a little bit of a move 1, 2, 3 to the downside, getting ready, and this is setting up for a possible pushback towards the upside. So again, PPI comes out decent. I do believe that will override Walmart earnings if PPI comes out similar to CPI with a really big beat. That's good for the market, right? So PPI dropping, not rising, obviously. So just be focused on that. And again, my next level, I got it roughly 403 to 410. I'm going to be posting charts on Twitter later on tonight. Hopefully I'm feeling a little bit better, but right now I'm just not feeling it. I'm just tired, and I just need to get off the computer for now. I'll have more of an update for you tomorrow. Sorry this video was shorter. I'll see you later. Have a good one.